It's felt like a month or 2 months has gone by since I've recorded, but really it's been. I don't think it's quite been 2 weeks. I don't think. I had the. I don't know if it's a flu or some sort of cold virus, but I'm still recovering from that. So I've gotten over the cold aspect and fever and things, and now it's just getting over my head to recover as well. I've been getting headaches and dizziness as well. So just my body still feels quite weak. So just recovering from that. I think generally my head's a bit all over the place. So it's in some ways I wanted to record because I'm really struggling today. So, but maybe I can try and give myself a break in regards to trying to explain everything and put things in perspective. It's one of the things we could talk about is I've got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and that's been causing me a lot of stress, just having that sort of build up, and the reason why it's so stressful is because it's been really hard to organise my thoughts and figure out a way to to explain what I need, the help I need, and I have jotted a few things down in my notebook, and I think I'll try and add to that today. But it's to really emphasise that I'm not well enough to know what help I need. Because it was one of those questions I talked about in previous vlogs, where the doctor, you can be asked a question of, okay, so is there anything you need, and it feels like I'm too unwell, I need someone to answer that for me in some ways. I don't have, and it's very hard to explain that further, but and I think what's been happening, again, this has been mentioned as well, there's been more kind of frustration and anger welling up with the inability to sort of speak up for myself and to explain how I'm feeling and my health. There's just so much information, and it's not coming to me, and it's the way to, in order to process it into speech and share it to somebody, it's like a narrowing, it's like a bottleneck, I guess. So there's a huge of craziness of lots of information that I can't quite grab and organise, string together, and then process it into speech. It feels like, and it's frustrating. It's getting more and more frustrating, because it feels like when I'm at the doctor, it's like, and it's probably it's a fine for a lot of people where the onus gets put back on you as the patient to say, okay, what you need, tell me what you need, and often I'm there thinking, well, I have no idea, and it's only now probably at its clearest where I can say, I'm not well enough to ask for help even. So even talking about it now, it's difficult, and it's like even this difficult to express. So I'm just hoping the doctor will hear me tomorrow when I do say that. And there are certain, maybe specific things that I'm not sure what help can be given, but help is needed in that area, such as I've really been struggling to sort of do the cleaning and tidying here, and there has been some patches of mould appearing as well, and that's been really, I've really been ruminating about that a lot, just worrying about it, and I've been doing my best to maintain the place. I've done everything I can to sort of clean the windows of condensation, or open the windows in the morning to allow in air, and things like that. Tried to do my part, and I guess sometimes these things just happen as well. But that's been really, and I think it's a bit of a measuring stick for my health, because I've been ruminating on it so much, worrying about it whenever it reappears, or I see some markings on a wall or something. It becomes a concern. Also, another issue has been some condensation behind the toilet, and over the days, maybe the weeks, how long I've been trying to keep an eye on it, and I've been cleaning up any sort of drops of condensation on the tiling and things, and I can't figure out if it doesn't appear it's a leak, but the condensation appears really quickly. So my mind is trying to kind of work out what's going on, and it's sort of burning my mind out trying to do that, because each time I go into the bathroom, I check there, and if it's there, and then I think, okay, so my mind's trying to figure out patterns of, okay, when does it appear, when does it not appear, and does it always appear in that same place? And it's too much for my mind, it's too much strain for my mind to keep doing that, keep trying to figure it out. So I kind of need so what I've tried to do with thoughts, I guess, is try to, because my thoughts are so chaotic and it's hard to express myself, so I've tried to almost circumvent that, to think, okay, I can't fully explain that, so okay, what can I explain in the simplest terms? So I kind of came up with, okay, I'm struggling to maintain and clean this place, and I'm struggling to cook healthy meals, and there's lots of narrative and explanation behind that. That's all sort of congested, and a lot of it maybe not accessible. It's too much, too overwhelming for me to try and explain, but at least I've kind of given some important bits of information that I am able to say. And I think I'm just struggling with my health generally. I think things are getting more difficult for me, and it's really challenging as well, because I recently listened to this TED talk it's called about how to ask for help, I think, and one of the things the person presenting the talk said was that something about transparency, that when we're explaining things to somebody else, in our minds it feels like we're being completely transparent, because we almost forget that somebody can't read our minds, so they can't understand how we feel and think. So when we're speaking, it almost feels like our thoughts and feelings are transparent with the speech we're giving, with the dialogue, and it's really hard to get a perspective on that transparency, because I could share something to say to a doctor and think, okay, I've been very clear there, and then, but really perhaps it's not as clear, because it's just the words. All they've got is really the words that you share, and often probably what happens to me is, probably when I do share something, I automatically have my thoughts and feelings around that, and it's hard to differentiate, okay, how clear have you been, and that even though you've said this, it doesn't necessarily mean they know exactly how you feel. So there's that stuff as well. And going back to the doctor's appointment, I think I've just been ruminating, probably out of fear, because it's happened so many times where I've just not been able to give an accurate account of myself, really. And now it's even more critical of my health, so I'm hoping that criticalness will come out or be seen, even in the simple words, I need help, but I don't know, I feel too unwell to know what help I need, but I and just those words, I need help, maybe is enough, where perhaps a doctor can understand that I can't sort of stand up for myself, and not stand up for myself where it's an argument, but I can't, I don't know if advocate is the right word, but advocate, let's use it, advocate for myself. And so you're trying to communicate that, because often that's a kind of a given when a patient comes in to see a doctor. Usually they're quite, that advocacy is a natural kind of part of that appointment. Usually say, okay, I'm struggling with this, and people are great, a lot of people are great at like painting a picture of, of whatever that's challenging them, and probably going overboard sometimes of, really, getting out whatever care they need. And I feel like I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum, where I probably need a lot more help than is being expressed. So yeah, I've tried to, even though it's hard, I've tried to minimize the ruminations about what I'm going to say to the doctor, because it just doesn't seem to, the rumination just causes more and more strain on me, and it's almost like a torture, really. And it's I do it because I think it's a coping mechanism of the fear of not being heard or not getting the help I need. But this time it feels different, because I feel even more, my health feels more critical, I guess, at this time. So it's more of a desperation. I think part of this is probably the remnants of the flu. My head feels very heavy, and I can feel like a very I feel very dissociated as well, and I don't know what else words to use, but yeah, I guess I just feel very not with it at the moment. So it makes it easy for depression to arise even more. Like I can feel it now, like the thoughts of depression are kind of there, bubbling, and it's almost using because I'm feeling low generally, and physically low and mentally low, and part of that mental health, part of that is that, whatever virus I've had, flu or something, and the low mood is kind of using that as almost an invitation to come in now, because I'm feeling vulnerable. So I'm aware that I'm vulnerable to thoughts of, okay, your life's over, it's not worth, those kinds of thoughts are easily coming up and grabbing hold. So I'm trying to be mindful of those, because I don't want to just allow those to carry me away, and then and so that's so yeah, I'm trying to remain strong in some respects, to try and keep some whatever simple perspective I can keep at the moment. So I'm trying to do my best not to think about tomorrow. Because another thing, what happens with these appointments, thinking about them or ruminating about what to say, is that I've talked about it before, the suffocation or constriction, because there's so much I need to try and say and explain, and to get myself heard and understood. but there's so, like the bottleneck, there's so little room or capacity for me to process whatever's going on inside of me, and to be able to verbalize it, and that itself creates almost like a panic attack. Really, it doesn't develop into a panic attack, because I think I cut off the ruminations, or do my best to distance myself, but it's almost like I can feel it building, panic attack, or more kind of constriction or chest pain and things. And so I'm just doing my best to manage that. It's kind of there bubbling with the thoughts, negative, dark thoughts as well. So I'm just doing my best to sort of keep afloat of that at the moment, or I guess for the moment, for today. I'm quite very grateful that I got some help from a family member to clean some of the walls here that were, because you probably see that my arrangement has changed here, but yesterday I got some help just moving my bed to one side. My bed was usually here along this window, and my chair was kind of in this corner, facing there. So I'm getting used to this new layout, and it just allows more air to reach the walls by the window, which is where some of the mold can come up. So I'm just getting used to this, actually. I'm not sure if the background's too bright for videos, but I'll have a look back, and maybe I can angle my chair a bit towards, move my bookshelf over this side. So yeah, maybe I feel a bit disorientated because of that, because I'm just getting used to the layout now, and that feels like it's a healthy thing to do, and I'm glad. I'm glad it was suggested when the cleaning was happening. A suggestion made about, why don't we change this? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'm open to it. But I'm just kind of getting used to this, and maybe part of the forgotten the word. This is another thing that's happening a bit more frequently as well. Words that I want to say are just not there. I just said the word as well. Can't think of it again. Is there another word I can use for it? Not confusion, but it begins with D. What's the word? I'm trying to think of another word for it. Yeah, things feel very... I don't know how else to describe what I was just about to say. I guess things with moving into the new year as well, things can feel a bit, whatever that word is, I'm trying to figure out. This feels worrying. It feels things seem kind of mixed up, I guess, getting used to getting out of the holiday period as well, dealing with the flu stuff, and so I'm kind of rebuilding my energy and my health. So I've spent a lot of time indoors as well, and just like I had to get some, more takeaway food than I usually do, because usually I try and mix it up, and I get some now and again, but I've been sort of relying on that, really, not eating too well. Some days not eating much really as well, just not having the energy to make myself anything, especially with feeling the way I was. And so the doctor's appointment tomorrow and the ruminations with that, so maybe all of those things are, maybe it's fair to say that's all having an impact on me, to kind of, the things to hopefully will start to settle down a little bit, and I'll get used to this new layout of my sort of living quarters here, and maybe it would be a good idea to do to do 5 minutes of a couple of healthy activities like reading. I haven't done any reading for a while. I find that's the hardest thing to do when I've got something similar to the flu or the flu, and so it may just bring some new horizons by doing that. And I haven't played poker in a while as well, because my head still feels quite messy, dizzy and disorientated. That was the word, I think. Disorientated. Oh god, it finally comes up. So maybe those kind of tasks might be healthy to I think, get back into the groove of my normal routine. So it does feel that way when there's an extensive period of doing similar things. Like for me, it was just staying a lot indoors, not doing much moving because of having the flu, and then watching a lot of shows. You just get into this like funk, I guess, this heavy cloud, and it'd be good to break out of that to just do a bit of reading. I think it'll be a fresher breath air to do that. Although part of me wants to kind of, doesn't have knows it will be a lot of effort to try and just, even to play poker. Sometimes it feels like it's a bit of a cold swimming pool. Analogy of like, going through a bit of pain to kind of do it and play a little bit and get through that initial stage. Same with reading as well. I think if I was to read like a page or two, it'd probably shake off the rust a little bit, and then it'll be a bit more smooth sailing, and that's what momentum happens and other things. So I haven't so I guess a lot of my routine's been completely off the rails this past week with just been recovering, I guess. So I haven't really walked much in a park either, so maybe I can try and figure out what things I can do and what things may be difficult for me. I didn't sleep great last night and the night before, and it's one of those sleeps where I feel like I really needed a better sleep, because when your body is recovering from that, and my head's already really not good in terms of dizziness and headaches, it's like it's the last thing I kind of would want, is to not have a good sleep. And I can feel the effects of it now, actually. My head feels really heavy, and I think yesterday is probably a long day as well, because I was with company. I was with a family member, and so I'm just having things cleaned here. It's stressful as well, just to kind of go through that process, even though I'm not doing the cleaning. But and then I saw another family member. We kind of all met up together afterwards for a coffee, which was nice. But I realised my mental energies were burned out completely, not just because of mental health, but also I could feel my head feeling really dizzy from just not having the physical energy as well. Still recovering, so it's kind of a mix between flu stuff and mental health stuff, and it's probably hard to separate. But I received a nice message from a friend. Just they used the word, to be gentle with yourself, which I've used before, and it was a reminder. But it was a really nice reminder, just to try and, feels like I need that reminder quite often, to be gentle with myself, because even now I'm probably not being as gentle with myself as I could be, in regards to what I'm dealing with right now. And the day I had yesterday, and doctor's appointment, the strain of that I've got for tomorrow. So wondering if it's worth lying down for a bit because my head just was really heavy. I think my sleep was just really not good last night. So yeah, I think that's about it really. I think all of my focus is on tomorrow pretty much, and trying to prepare for it, but trying not to ruminate about it. So I'll see how I can do that later today, and maybe I can. I really don't like lying down in the daytime. It just feels depressing to do. But maybe I need to. I don't know. So either that or having a cup of coffee. I don't know. But anyway, it's good. It's good to record as well. That's something I was wanting to do, but not having the energy to do. It was weird even just talking as well, because I think before yesterday I've really not used my voice for a good 5-6 days plus, which is quite rare. So it's like when I first started talking yesterday, my voice was really gravelly and really you could hear perhaps remnants of the cold as well in there. But another thing I've got to figure out is food. I do have some, probably a mix of a bit unhealthy and not quite fully unhealthy, but I have some finger rolls left over, and I bought some more vegetarian sort of sausages. I know I feel like I was going to cut down. I have cut down on that stuff because it just doesn't feel as great for my body, but over Christmas, or just was it a few days ago or a couple of days ago, I went to see Avatar, the new Avatar movie. So that was, and as I was walking, this couple, they had these hot dogs with them, and it looked really good. And they only had they didn't have vegetarian or anything or vegan ones. It's just that, and that gave me, I think they gave me the craving to have something similar. It's funny when you see an image or someone eat something, it can stick with you. It happens to me a lot. So so maybe I can have that for potentially dinner tonight. I've had some porridge this morning, so that's something good to acknowledge for myself, that it was a healthy sort of breakfast to have, which I've been struggling with. Maybe for lunch I can try and push myself to have some soup, because I've had a carton of soup in my fridge for a while now, and I just haven't been able to have it or get myself to have it. And I'm not sure what to have with it really, because I don't know if I do well with soup unless it's with like a sandwich of some kind or something, but soup on its own I don't usually do well with. And I don't want to have bread with it, because I'm going to have that later with those kind of hot dogs. So yeah, maybe I should figure out lunch, and then the good thing, I guess, sometimes getting out when I've got something to do, like a doctor's appointment, and I can try and hit the shops on the way back because I'm already outside. So I know I need some more like face wash and face cream, and I just realised actually that the type of face wash I get is only available at like the bigger shops, not the smaller ones. So maybe I can't get that tomorrow, but yeah, maybe I can make use of tomorrow's trip from the doctors to kind of get some food on the way back. So I guess let's go over so I think food, hopefully that'll be okay for today. I'll figure out something for lunch, maybe try the soup. and I've got dinner sorted out. So I think it's like early afternoon, so like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or around about that time, I think, or just gone. So yeah, maybe I could just do some reading, a tiny bit of reading that I might do now. Maybe I'll make a weak cup of coffee, maybe. Yeah, maybe play some poker, and if it's pushing myself too much, I do a tiny bit of writing, whether it's like a sentence or two. Perhaps I can see how I go. Yeah, then of course, before I forget, the doctor's prep as well. I need to just revisit my notes. Sometimes that can be obsessive as well. When I reread my notes, I think, is that enough? Like, do I need to write anything else? Because I rely on those so heavily, because it's what I'm going to literally verbally read out to the doctor. It's not something that I'll glance down and just for, because things are so bad to explain that it always feels like I need to write a little script for myself, because in that moment I just don't have it in me to express what I need to say. So, but yeah, maybe I can add a few more things to that if possible. Yeah, and I'm not sure if I'll make it outside today. I'd like to kind of get out. I think it'll be good for me to get out today. I'm just not sure if I how that's going to happen. But maybe I can get myself to do that as well. So yeah, got a few healthy suggestions there to do things for the rest of the afternoon and evening. And I think with how things are now, it's probably just best to have those suggestions there that I've just mentioned, and then just take each part of the day as it comes and see if one of those suggestions can fit in with what's going on now, like whether it's reading or going outside or that kind of thing. So maybe I can just do it like that, perhaps. I was actually going to vlog in the middle of the night last night because I was awake and I couldn't get back to sleep and I was feeling really low. I was just, but I knew I was going to try and vlog today, so I thought maybe it would be better just to leave it for today. Sometimes doing it like that when I'm in bed and it's dark, it's just, I don't know if it feels as comfortable, or I'll be able to say everything I want to say in that moment. But maybe I was just feeling a bit desperate last night to yeah, I think that's it for this recording.